Hello everyone, it's Teferi07. Today I'm playing my blue-white Murktide brew. Okay, so in this build we are playing a lot of cantrips, a lot of cheap, efficient threats like Stoneforge and Murktide, and we also got a free interaction in Force of Negation, Solitude, to keep up with the faster opponents. Also Teferi is here, which are great right now in the meta game against Cascade decks. Cascades are on top of the meta. We also got a lot of counterspells, Spell Pierce, Counterspell, Force of Negation and Flusterstorms on the sideboard. Together with Teferi, Chalice of the Void, Supreme Verdict, they do a very good hate against a lot of the meta. Temporary lockdowns, usable against Rhinos, very efficient against Scales, Hammer, also great against Yawgmoth, Merfolk, all decks, aggro decks that play low-costed creatures. Sanctifier and en-Vec, decent graveyard hate against decks like Gorios, against Asmo decks, hating on black and red graveyard related stuff. So that's it. Okay, very simple deck, old school style, efficient, good stuff, removal, Prismatic Ending, Solitude, Leyline Binding, plus Zagoth Triome, which we bring together with it from the sideboard. Stoneforge got a lot better with addition of Cryptic Coat, of course. I feel like it's very playable card right now. Lion Sash as additional target. Kind of graveyard decks are on a rise, so I like having it. Also sometimes you can just tutor for a white card if you don't have it for Solitude. So I think I'm very happy with it, works very well and I'm keeping it. Lórien to help cast Murktide and have enough spell count to cast it reliably and early in the game. So that's it, pretty simple, as I said, old school style Stoneblade brew, but accommodated to fit in Murktide as another efficient early threat that can finish things early, similar to Kaldra when it Kaldra kits field. So that is it. Let's go check out the gameplay. Okay, so I think this deck, this archetype is very well positioned right now. It's good. I think it's good against Amulet. I think it's good against Cascade because we have Teferi plus cheap counterspells. I think it's good against Scales, Hammer and Yawgmoth. We have efficient sideboard, there's Supreme Verdicts, there's temporary lockdowns and Solitudes and endings in the main. I think it can do well against most of the meta game and especially against popular decks. Also I think it's good against Zoo because you have this free interaction in Solitude. Also Prismatic Ending is like pretty sweet there, and Teferi also does a good job, while Murktide is kind of hard for them to deal with, especially if you can back it up with a counterspell. So okay, here in this example I've got turn 4/7/7 Murktide together with Teferi, and here my opponent plays a Dryad. I attack with Murktide 4/7, and now I have I let them kill my Teferi. This is fine. Holding back the counterspell. Opponent tries to go for Primeval Titan, but I have the counter. So I'm in a decent situation. Here I play another Murktide, grow this one to 10/10. So this means putting opponent to 3 life, which means all of my attackers are lethal next turn. Opponent just 3 cards right now, 2 with when they play a land. They have a bounce land, this means they can play it twice, kill my Murktide. Also play it third time. So I did this in response, so this means they don't have any more of they don't have any more land drops for a turn, because they already used 2 times. So I tried to kill the Dryad in response to prevent them from doing more damage here. Maybe Not maybe, but probably that was not a good decision, and I gave my opponent a choice, uh, an option to survive another turn, try to top deck something. But yeah, here they killed Cryptic Coat again. Luckily my 10-10 Murktide was too big for them to deal with. But yeah, they got another top deck Grazer to let them survive another turn. And here now I got the Lion Sash. So now I can block the Dryad. Again they need a top deck to survive a turn. This time they don't get it and it's a game over. Okay, so this was game 1. Let's check out game 2. Yeah, did one mistake there. It was almost a costly mistake. Okay, here I boarded out a Lion Sash. Don't really need this for this matchup. Brought out the Spell Pierce, the Teferis are kind of useless. I bring in one Chalice of the Void, Leyline Bindings and Zagoth Triome. So yeah, that's and also okay, here my opponent got the One Ring early together with Amulet of Vigor and Defense Grid, preventing me from playing spells in their turn paired with Amulet and One Ring. Their hand is just too good, so I did find the Leyline Binding here to get rid of the One Ring, but it was kind of too late. They found Boseiju to bring back their One Ring. I didn't have much pressure here, but now I was finally able to put Kaldra on the field to start attacking them, which gave me some minimum chance to try to do something here. I didn't have enough mana to just play both like a Counterspell and play Murktide, so I decided to go for the Murktide this turn, try to pressure their life total for the next one. I'm not able to play Solitude here because of the grid, but I have Chalice of the Void. They can play the Summoner's Pact without destroying it, but now finally my opponent finds a Primeval Titan, and yeah, so they also have Boseiju now. So now they have a Summoner's Pact to go for the Dryad and do enough of these Valakut abilities to end things here, and that was the game. Okay, let's check out game 3. Okay, so in the game 3 I had a decent hand. So I have Stoneforge that can't really kill a Stoneforge. So I'm definitely putting a Kaldra on the field. I have a Force of Negation backup and also Solitude. So a lot of free interaction here, enabling me to just play my stuff regularly. And here my opponent actually did find a removal, which was very good for them. This stopped me from applying early pressure. Okay, opponent, I go for a consider, find my Raugrin Triome. So now I'm holding Force of Negation and Leyline Binding on their turn. It doesn't seem great at this point. I don't have any pressure on the field, but I have some interaction here, so I think this is fine. So end of turn, I wanted to have old mana open because of the Subtlety. I wanted to cast Subtlety next turn if they try to go for the Dryad or Titan, whatever. So it seemed like a good timing to maybe try hold a Subtlety. That didn't actually happen, but it is fine. I had some options here, but I decided to play the Subtlety anyway. I blocked the construct and Solitude a second construct, so I could just get the free block with the Solitude here. My opponent was kind of slow, and I decided not to play Stoneforge here, but to keep the Counterspell and Force open. I'm now attacking with Subtlety, so I am applying some pressure. Now I also get to play the Stoneforge, hold the Counterspell plus the Force of Negation for their turn, so it seems like a decent situation for me. Opponent goes for the ring here. I decide to use the Force and not use Counterspell, but just like hold Counterspell. Okay, so I've had Subtlety, but I've really wanted to put Kaldra on the field. Kaldra here is a 2-turn clock. I put my opponent to 5 life and I have Counterspell with Subtlety backup. It is like impossible for my opponents to do anything here. And I counter their ring, and that is the match. Let's check out second match. Okay, we'll go through the wins first and then defeat in the end. This league finished 4-1. I was pretty happy with this deck. I had to mulligan this one, 0 lands, and I keep a 1 lander here with double Preordain. That seems like super keepable. Double Preordain is pretty good. Okay, so here I go for the Preordain, finding a land and passing the turn. The mana base here is really not demanding. It's very easy, you can go like for a lot of basics. I decide to go for ending there. And yeah, okay, I had Spell Pierce here, so I go for a Solitude and then just play the Preordain. Try to dig, try to find like Murktide, a Stoneforge, went for Survey Land first, then Preordain, then just double Preordain here. I don't expect them play anything relevant non-creature on their turn right now, so no creatures for them. I killed their starting 2 creatures, they didn't have a second one, so now I'm just passing the turns, trying to deal with the threats they find. So I think this is a positive situation for me, situation in which I can top deck relevant stuff I need. Okay, so opponent still on 3 lands, plenty of cards in hand, but I guess they weren't effective. Probably stuff like Stubborn Denials, maybe Bolts. Okay, here I ending the Nekatal. I have Counterspell in this situation primarily for Ragavan. I'm guessing they have a Denial, but I have Pierce anyway. So Prismatic Ending is pretty good in this matchup, kills everything except Scion, of course. I'm always hoping like to save Solitude for Scion, but yeah, here I was in a good situation. I went for Raugrin Triome end of turn, and here I finally find my Stoneforge card I was looking for. And now I have options. I can of course go for Kaldra and go for the Cryptic Coat. I think it's best to go for the Cryptic Coat in a situation like this. It's difficult for them to interact with. It's difficult to kill, so I can always bounce it for 2 mana, and it keeps just putting power on the field, and in games like this it's close to unbeatable. Okay, so I ending their Ragavan, passing the turn. I can just put the coat instant speed on the field, then use 2 mana to bring it back to my hand if I want. Opponent goes for Kavu. That's like totally fine. I go use the Stoneforge ability, of course, put Coat on the field. I don't want to yeah, so I could have just bounced my Coat to my hand here. I accidentally passed a through turn, but it wasn't really that relevant. I had Prismatic Ending and find Kaldra for the top deck. but yeah, I accidentally skipped through that that ability and let them let them take my Leyline. But yeah, they concede next turn anyway, so it didn't end up mattering. Okay, so in the game too, but yeah, the code is just super good in a situation like this when opponent is not doing anything, just passing turns. It's very hard to deal with. Okay, so let's check out the sideboarding plan for the Zoo matchup. Subtle thing, turn 1 Ragavan always feels good. Two Counterspell on the board in this matchup, trimming 1 Consider, Spell Pierces and Force of Negations. I don't really like them. So trimming most of the Counterspells, bringing in Bindings, Zagoth Triome for another land, and yeah, of course, removing Lion Sash. I don't think it's necessary for the matchup. Okay, so here I got Preordain and holding Kaldra. I can put Kaldra into play. Of course, they have Leyline Binding to deal with Kaldra in their deck, but still, it's a threat they have to deal with. Yeah, so since they're attacking, this means like they probably have it. And they go in for 5 with Kavu. I go for Lórien and resolve my Teferi, bounce Kavu, and yeah, this is like pretty good situation for me. Opponent is just on 2 cards in hand. I have double consider. This means when they replay the Kavu, I will be able to dig. So finding Solitude is like really good here. I can go end of turn, Teferi, the Kavu, and then attack with Solitude, gain life if needed. So I surveil first, and then go for find Solitude. Didn't find another white card, but did find a Murktide. And I attacked with Solitude to prevent my opponent from top decking Bolt. And yeah, so they kill my Murktide, kill my Teferi, attack with Scion, and I get to Solitude their Scion. And now I'm attacking with Solitude, putting myself to 8. I also have a Counterspell. Counterspell is pretty good card right now. My opponent obviously definitely don't want to trade with Solitude. So I get to cast the Brawler here, and yeah, now I'm pretty well positioned. I can play Murktide. It's a good blocker for their Nishoba Brawler, 6/6 right now. Also, even if they have removal, I still survive on 1 life. And opponent plays a tap land, plays Giganta, passes the turn. Now they have 2 big 5 power guys, but I'm in a better situation and I can now just go for the binding, attack with Solitude again, go to the safe zone and shock in land to hold a counter spell if they have a burn spell to try to finish me off. And that's exactly what happened, yeah, and I had a little swing back, so that was a game over and match for me. Okay, so let's check out match 3. Match 3 played against a Young Dingo. They were on Goryo's Atraxa, I think. Had to mulligan and no lander to decent 6 cards, no threats, but good interaction here. Okay, opponent takes a Force of Negation. It deals with their Goryo spell for 0 mana on their turn, so yeah, they go for Tainted Indulgence, put I think they put Atraxa in the field, in the grave, yeah. Okay, so shock in the land, hold the counterspell, pass the turn. Opponent just hedge maze, pass the turn. They saw my hand, so they know I have a counter spells. Okay, so opponent is just playing lands, passing the turn, waiting for opportunity they can try to sneak the Atraxa in. So I go find a land, Meticulous Archive, get a survey land, try to find something relevant to top, and I did find something relevant. It was a Lion Sash on top, so I'm definitely drawing it unless I'm forced to play my Spell Pierce. So here opponent again passes the turn, does nothing. This means I can now play the Lion Sash and have 2 open white mana to exile the Atraxa from the graveyard together with like counter spells and spell pierce. This feels like pretty good. I like it. So I don't want to use the ability here in case my opponent has double Gorios or something like that, but I instead use it on my turn. And yeah, so now I can start attacking with Lion Sash. I'm not using abilities anymore and just holding mana for my counter spells. Now opponent tries to go for the Grief. I have counter plus spell pierce to take care of both of their spells. And now I also get to untap, play the Consider, play the 8/8 Murktide and still have mana open to go for the counterspell. I attack them on 8, which is exactly lethal, and that is game 1. Let's check out game 2. Okay, so in the game 2, counterspell is a good card against them. 2 cantrips allowing me to like go for Murktide early, but also digging for more counterspells. So I really like this hand. Opponent goes for Grief, Ephemerate on turn 2, taking counterspell and Stoneforge for me. This allowed me to go for early Murktide. It's just a 5/5, but it's there, it can attack, so I like it. And my opponent also goes for turn 3 another Grief, Ephemerate, which is just crazy. At this point they don't have much to take, and I decided not to play the Stoneforge, not to pay life here, because they would just ephemerate the thing I find. And this way I was able to Stoneforge, find Kaldra, and they decided to go for attack here, so this means they didn't discard my Stoneforge. Opponent attacks, and this time they try to risk it, try to go for a lethal. I need to find something to take care of this Grief, and I did find a Solitude. Solitude is great top deck right now, allowing me to stay back in blockers and continue attacking my opponent with Murktide. Opponent has a Bone Shard, but yeah, I'm in a pretty good situation right now. Attacking with Solitude, gaining life, getting back to the comfort zone with a life gain, and opponent tries to go for the Solitude. I have Subtlety to finish things up, so that is the match. Okay, so let's check out match 4. Also like almost all wins were very clean, except that one game against Amulet Titan. Keeping a pretty decent hand here, starting off with the Survey Land. I have already have Cryptic Coat in my hand, so I can go for Kaldra. And this is another Domain Zoo deck, a deck that is like pretty popular right now with Leyline of the Guild Pact, of course, and Scion combo. This opponent played a slightly unusual version. I play Cloak here. Cloak at this point trades with Nishoba Brawler, has Ward, so they have to have exactly a bolt to kill it. So we trade with the Coat. I'm okay with that definitely. And here I play the Stoneforge, grabbing the Kaldra, and for their turn protecting the Stoneforge with Spell Pierce and Force of Negation, which I get to use here. play the Spell Pierce, protect my Stoneforge. They have another removal though, but it is okay. Opponent attacks me for 5 there, and I'm holding Force of Negation now on their turn. And no point really, I have to shock in to counter this Tribal Flame, so there's no really point. And on their turn I get to play the big Murktide and hold Force of Negation. I didn't want to play like Cryptic Coat to be able to hold the Force of Negation, of course. Now my opponent plays I play Teferi, bounce their guy, play the Cryptic Coat, attack with Murktide. I have lethal next turn. My opponent concedes. That is the game. Okay, let's check out game 2. Okay, let's also check out the sideboarding plane. Two domain zoos in this league, so let's check out the sideboarding plan against them. We got counterspells out again, same as previously. Lion Sash again to bring in like lockdowns, supreme verdicts, subtleties. All these cards feel like very relevant, and prismatic endings are very good against them. Kills all their stuff. Okay, here I go for Stoneforge. Opponent passes the turn. They're stuck on 2 lands here. I go for a Stoneforge again. This time resolve it, grabbing Kaldra. I have Binding open and Subtlety. So I let them resolve this because I wanted to resolve my Teferi here. Teferi shuts off their Stubborn Denials. So that's why I like it, and here I have instant speed interaction to take care of the Ragavan. So pretty strong position for me. I can do a lot of powerful stuff from here. Opponent goes for to kill my Binding, get back their Ragavan, kills my Teferi, passes the turn. I have multiple options here. I like just playing a Stoneforge as a creature that can trade with Ragavan, holding Counterspell and Subtlety as interaction. They can't really interact with Subtlety well, so I think it's pretty good against them. They do have Reprieve though, so opponent goes for a Brawler here. Immediately I play my hardcast, my Subtlety, and that completely blocks the opponent. And they concede. They have seen enough. So let's check out the only defeat in this league. It was a close one. Okay, so here I keep a pretty decent hand, double cantrip, and Prismatic Ending can let you cast like Murktide Regent pretty soon. But here I did find a Stoneforge Mystic. I already have a Cryptic Coat, so I take my Kaldra. Opponent has a removal for it. So Jetmir's Garden, and I don't have enough creature density to play to win against, and not enough early pressure to win against creativity here. I did have Cryptic Coat on the field. It's like not that easy for them to deal with. They have to tap a lot of mana. I have Solitude in my hand. I only need a white card, nothing else. And I dig here with Meticulous Archive and Consider, which allows me to go through a lot of cards. I don't find a white card for the Solitude, so I have to kill it on my turn, letting them get the Archon once. Opponent has a lot of cards, so they go for a removal there, and I get to play the Lórien Revealed, drawing 3 cards. This means if they don't have creativity on their next turn, I think they didn't have it, I think they draw it, so I would untap with Murktide plus Counterspell backup, which is always like pretty strong. And but yeah, my opponent finds the creativity, and I can't do. Took a risk there, and I couldn't do anything about it anymore. So it was game over. Let's check out game two. But I think yeah, so these out of the meta decks are not like super good for this deck, especially like creativity. Creativity eats like the controlish, slow, not that fast decks that don't play a super high amount of creatures. But yeah, here opponent had everything in game 2. They literally like had everything. So starting from Stern Scalding on Stoneforge Mystic, their hand was just super good against mine. I decided to like maybe they need Preordain here to stabilize on mana. I think I was right. They were stuck on 3 lands. They didn't find that third land for a long time. I was hoping to yeah, I was hoping to like find a threat here, digging with considers, with the survey lands. I got a bunch of counters in my hand right now, and they're stuck on lands, which is good news for me. But what I really need here is a threat, and that's like probably Murktide. Murktide with a backup counterspell is pretty good. I finally find a threat. It is Cryptic Coat. And opponent has this was a key moment. This was definitely a key moment here. Opponent has the reprieve. I play Fluster on their reprieve, try to resolve the code. I think like maybe I should have just let them resolve the reprieve, but they were stuck on lands. I didn't really want to let them draw. And yeah, here I have opponent goes for reprieve. I have a counterspell, and now I resolve my Murktide. And unfortunately, opponent has a Leyline Binding. I can't protect it, and again I tap out here to try to resolve the Lórien Revealed. Again, kind of risking, but I have to get these 3 cards. And yeah, now my opponent finds a Fable exactly at the point where I was tapped out and couldn't use my counter spells. And Fable is just very good in a situation like this. It allows them to get 2 fresh cards, discard what they don't need, and now they have lands. They can pressure me with the dwarf tokens. I have to find removals specifically, probably like something like Solitude, and yeah, flipped Fable is also definitely a problem. Okay, so opponent attacking, and I need to find solutions, but I don't find it on time. I have some counters here, so I get to live a few more turns, but it wasn't enough. And in the end, I just lost to the Goblin Shaman and the Dwarf tokens. That was the game and the match. So that is it for today. I think like this is really exciting build for players who enjoy playing like this old school style Stoneblade brews. You also get to play regents. So Stoneforge Mystic is much better with the addition of a Cryptic Coat, letting you find a blue spell and a white spell which you can use for Subtlety, Force of Negation, Solitude, and also they are pretty good on their own. So I think both Stoneforge and Murktide Regent feel like as very effective 2 mana threats at the moment, probably one of the best out there, together with Territorial Kavu and Sana Draco. And that's it. So pretty happy with how this league went and how the deck performed in other matches. It felt like a pretty good into the popular metagame right now. I think it can do well in against like a top 5, 6, 7 decks of the format, and it has game against the rest of the field. So I'm very excited about seeing people trying this one. I think it can do well. And yeah, okay, so that is it. Again, thank you for watching. Please click like, click subscribe, comment in the video, tell me how do you feel about this Stoneblade brew in comparison to I don't know what else is out there. Didn't really follow it too much. Okay, so also down below in the video description you can support my channel, support my work on Dictionary app, where you can use tier 1, 2 or 3 subs to support financially my work here and on other platforms. Also join the Discord or the Twitter, and that's it. Okay, again, thank you for watching. That is it for today, and goodbye.